I think we are live now, so let me know if you guys can see and hear me okay. I'm going to give it a few minutes to let everyone kind of get in here and join the video. I was doing my best to get everybody kind of added in, everybody who needed links, make sure everyone knew how to view the video. And I've been doing my best to get everyone approved for the group and things like that. It takes a little bit of time to get all that done. So thanks so much for your patience. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. So my chat is showing up in one window and not the other. Okay. Okay, there it goes. Perfect. So tonight we are going to talk about sourcing. Welcome everyone, Julie, Better Barbie, Maria, Sue. Hi Scott, welcome in. Glad you could make it. Julianne, Cheryl. Okay, so I initially wanted to build this webinar around pricing, and then it occurred to me that you really have to talk about your sourcing and your listing as well, because if those two things aren't right, then your pricing is not going to matter at all. So tonight we are going to go through part one, which is sourcing. I'm glad you guys can make it both nights. It's going to be the same outline, just kind of slightly different depending on what people ask. But we're going to talk about sourcing all over again, because I want you guys to really get to a point where you are comfortable with sourcing and comfortable with sourcing items that are going to be worth your time to list, so that you are not just listing all day, every day, trying to make a living off of $10 items. So I really want to give you some items tonight that are in categories that are really going to be worth your time, and teach you how to kind of prioritize your time when you're outsourcing for things, because this is just kind of how I think about it, not necessarily in terms of brands, but in terms of, what categories are going to fetch the most profit. Hi, Joyce. Welcome in. I'm glad you can make it. And if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to put them into the chat. I'll be happy to answer any that you have. But first, I want to talk about when you need to source. I get this question quite a bit. People ask me how often I go sourcing, and I really try to go every day to Goodwill and to, a couple local thrift stores, and really check the new racks and see what new items they've gotten in for that day. And this helps me because sometimes I go in and I find a ton of stuff, and sometimes I go in and I find nothing. So you really have to get into a pattern of going sourcing on a consistent basis, so that you are able to get enough inventory to make up for the times when you can't find inventory. Hi, Connie. Welcome. I'm glad you can make it. But I do try to go, my main thrift store that I go to is Goodwill. I tend to just do the best there. But this is really going to depend on, your area. And once you start going to your local thrift stores regularly, you will learn which thrift stores kind of have the best stuff. So you really want to try and find, the better thrift stores that are in your area. But I try to go to Goodwill at least every day during the week and check the new arrivals and the new racks that they have there. We have 2 Goodwills here, and so I'll go to one, and depending on what I find on the new racks, that kind of determines what section I'll go to. Like if I start finding really good men's stuff, I'll go to the men's section to see, if there's anything that I missed, if there's anything that they had already put away in the men's section that I could have missed. But I want to talk about the areas of the thrift store that I really prioritize. I'm getting some notifications, but I just want to make sure everyone is able to access this. Give me 1 second. Let's see. But let me know in the chat which areas of the thrift store that you usually tend to source, that you tend to find better items in. I asked this question in the group the other day. What sections people check first if they only have a limited amount of time. And a lot of people said purses, which is really interesting because I don't really find a ton of good purses here, but apparently a lot of people do. So let me know in the comments what you guys tend to find in your area that's better than others. Sorry, guys, I'm getting messages from people who can't access the webinar, so I'm just trying to make sure everybody is able to get in here. Let's see. For some reason, my chat is not showing up on the screen. Shoes and jeans, jackets and shoes. The thrift giant I go to never has much in purses. See, that is my thing too, is the purses that I do find are never in good condition. Like the purses that we get here, I bought a purse for myself the other day, and at first it looked fine, but after I used it for a couple days, it literally started to crumble. And it wasn't like a cheap purse. It was a good brand that I usually pick up at TJ Maxx, but it literally started to crumble after like 2 days of using it. Let's see. Not sure why these links are locking people out. That's got to be some kind of glitch that I need to figure out how to fix for people. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. But okay, so let's keep going. So obviously the first place that I start sourcing is the new racks. And then, you know, you'll see these, usually they're in the middle of the thrift store, and you'll see the employees bringing them out. Like when they bring out new stuff here, they'll usually ring this really loud, obnoxious bell and scream new treasures. And then you'll be able to kind of tell when they're bringing this stuff out. And then you get to go kind of fight with people, which it used to not be so bad, but lately I've noticed that more people start kind of running towards them when they bring them out of the bag. I had this man in the thrift store the other day who was just being really rude and snatching things from people, which was a little unnecessary. I don't really get too much of that around where I am. So just don't, I try to like not take things like that personally, but it's kind of hard when you're trying to find stuff and somebody's just being really obnoxious. Let's see. Let's see. I go to jeans first, men's and women's, then men's dress shirts, and then hard goods. Yeah, I definitely check the jeans. So that is my first category that I want to talk about. Whenever I'm limited on time, I go and check the new racks, and then I check the jeans. Just because jeans are something that are going to sell for you year round. People buy jeans year round, so that's something that I try to buy year round. And you know, a good pair of jeans will sell for a minimum $25. So you want to get to a point where what I like to call your bread and butter items, the minimum you want to accept for those is $25. So that is kind of my goal with this, is to get you from selling $10 items to items that you can sell for minimum $25. Because the ideal price range that you really want to go for in terms of your bread and butter is, between like 20, 25 and 30, 35. So jeans are a great way to do that, because even, lower end mall brands like American Eagle, Express, Hollister, Abercrombie, these jeans retail for $70 to $80. So you can easily get $25 for them. And people are happy to pay the $25 because they're usually paying the 70 to 80 at the mall for them. And places like American Eagle have a really loyal following. And, that's what I used to wear in high school. So I liked that I was able to just kind of know what my size was, and I didn't really have to try stuff on. And that's what people really like about these brands, is they find brands of jeans that they like, and then they just keep ordering the same jeans. A lot of people like the American Eagle artist jeans. Those seem to be the most popular in the American Eagle. And then if you can find more recent styles like the high-rise jeggings, skinny fit, dark wash, distressed, the more recent they are, the higher they're going to retail for. Like American Eagle jeans now retail, closer to 80 to 90, and then they don't really go on sale. So people are always looking for them to buy them used. Sue says, I find jeans overwhelming, but I never had the time to spend there. They are kind of overwhelming because they all look the same. But what I like to do on the rack is I try to section it off to where I'm not looking at the entire long rack. I'll do like one at a time, like one section at a time. And then it becomes less overwhelming. Maria says, I find it easier to go through the jeans. When I go through tops, I get distracted with all the patterns and styles. It's very hard for me to go through all the tops. And I don't talk a lot about tops because that's not going to be what's going to bring in the most profit for you, unless they are things like Anthropologie, Lilly Pulitzer, Tory Burch, higher end brand tops, or like plus size tops. Tops are not going to be your biggest moneymaker. So, that's why I'm kind of going through these main categories tonight, is because these are the categories that you want to prioritize in terms of making the biggest profit margins. So you definitely want to always go through the jeans. And I completely understand being overwhelmed by the jeans. It's not that I was overwhelmed by them. I just didn't care for listing them because they take me longer to list than other things, but they will make a much higher profit than a lot of other things as well. Like if you can find, lately I've been finding Miss Me jeans, Silver jeans, True Religion, Citizens of Humanity, Page, Rock Revival. I always want to say Rock and Republic. Rag and Bone jeans, Pilcrow and the Letterpress. You want to get used to looking at brands of jeans. You want to look for vintage jeans. The vintage high-rise mom jeans are really in right now, especially if you can find them like from the 90s that have the big tabs on the back. Tommy Hilfiger, Lee, Levi's, Calvin Klein. Like there's another one that I'm missing. Maybe that's all of them. But you definitely want to start getting more comfortable with looking at vintage jeans as well. Women a lot of times will buy the Levi's men's jeans to wear just because they're a lot easier to achieve that high-waisted look with the men's jeans. Sue says, wearing American Eagle right now and I'm 62. American Eagle has a very loyal fan base. And, I still get American Eagle jeans sometimes if I can find them. Like, I really like their jeggings. Old Navy as well. that's another brand that ideally you want to find at the Goodwill outlet. American Eagle is great to find at the Goodwill outlet as well. But you want to try and find these mall brands at the Goodwill outlet ideally. If I do find American Eagle at the retail store, I will pick it up if it's the artist jeans or if it's like a current style or new with tag. But ideally, you want to find those bread and butter mall brands at the Goodwill outlet is the first place you want to go. Or if you have, a Salvation Army that does half off sales, or if you have any local thrift stores that will do sales on jeans, definitely go and see if you can find them there. Because I talk about the Goodwill outlet, but you will have local stores that also do sales that will have prices that are comparable to the Goodwill outlet. Because jeans usually weigh about a pound. So, if your Goodwill outlet's $1.39 a pound, you're going to pay about $1.39 a pair of jeans. Whereas if you can find, a local thrift store that has dollar racks, then you can also pick them up there. And that will be, competitive with your Goodwill outlet. And because I know a lot of you don't have Goodwill outlets that are local. I don't either. The closest one that I have to me is over an hour away. Stu says, my thrift store had a pair of Miss Me jeans for $14.82. Ridiculous. I agree. In Florida, when I was in Florida, the Goodwills there had Miss Me jeans priced at $30. And the crazy part is that the people who work at the flea markets, who sell stuff at the flea markets, would pay this for them and then take them to the flea market and sell them for $50 and $60 at the flea market. So, they didn't really seem to bat an eye that Goodwill was selling these jeans for $30. People were still buying them, which is just crazy. Larissa says, I miss out on so many jeans because I thought mall brands were bad. Can't wait to go sourcing now and go through the jeans. Mall brands are not bad, just because you have to think about it in terms of the price. And more people are able to afford the mall brands than are able to afford a pair of $200 Dojos or a pair of $200 True Religion jeans. So yeah, those higher end brands are going to fetch a higher profit, but they may take longer to sell. Whereas the mall brands are able to be purchased by so many more people just because they're more affordable. So that is going to make them way more likely to sell consistently for you. So you have to have a good balance of, these mall brands, and then those will supplement your higher end brands that might take longer to sell. But more people are able to access these mall brands and they know their sizes in them. And so those are going to sell more consistently. And those are, great to pick up at your Goodwill outlet. I love finding American Eagle jeans at the Goodwill outlet. I find a ton of them there, in Old Navy. So every time I find them there, I pick them up because they will sell consistently. They're not going to be your highest profit, but you can easily get $25 to $30 for them. Let's see. Do you cross-post all your items on eBay and Posh? No. I much prefer to list things on Poshmark. I don't really like to sell too much on eBay just because eBay has gotten so difficult with fees and you have to pay for a store subscription, and I don't like that they charge you fees up front to list things. They charge you for a subscription. Then you have PayPal fees and promoted listing fees. And then they send you a bill at the end of the month. It's just, eBay is very, very complicated and way more difficult than it should ever be. So I list everything on Poshmark first and foremost. I do like to list men's items on eBay just because they have a tendency to move faster on eBay. But I do not spend time cross-posting everything from Poshmark to eBay. I have 2 in a bundle, bootcut American Eagle jeans. They don't sell. Okay, I would separate them. I would definitely separate them and put them in separate listings. So with jeans, it's way better to try and pick up skinny fit jeans dark wash. Right now, flare jeans are trending. So not like boot cut flare, but like bell bottom flare, like 70s style bell bottom flare. Um, it I pick up the boot cut, but I'm very, very picky about what I pick up. Like usually it's BKE or silver jeans I'll pick up in boot cut, True Religion, things like that. But I try not to pick up too many boot cut or straight cut because they don't sell as quickly as the skinny fit. Joy says, I will start with jeans on my first sourcing. Yes, jeans are a great item to start with. We'll start with my local flea market and Goodwill store. Flea markets are great just because it's kind of like a giant yard sale, and you're going to be more likely to get people to kind of negotiate prices with you, and you can negotiate them down on prices, especially if you find, several items at one booth that you want to buy. So that's the great thing about flea markets. I haven't really been to too many flea markets lately. I definitely want to go back. I feel like this is a good time of year to hit the flea markets when it's starting to cool off just a little bit. But definitely don't let the jeans overwhelm you, because that's going to be one of your number one items that are going to bring you the most profit. Like that is like step one in getting your average sale price in that $20 to $30 range, because that's what you want to aim for. You want to aim for your lowest sale price to be in that $20 to $30 range, with your higher end items bringing that as close to $30 as possible. Because most items on Poshmark that I've noticed tend to sell between $20 and $30. When you get going above $30, those items are going to take a little bit longer to sell. Obviously, you still want to have things in your closet that are above $30. That $20 to $30 price range, ideally $25 to $30, is going to be like your ideal price range that you want to aim for. Trying to get back to my notes. There we go. Next, I want to talk about shoes. So anytime somebody wants to start on Poshmark, I tell them to start with jeans and shoes, because jeans and shoes are two items that will sell consistently year round. And this is going to depend on your area in terms of what kind of shoes you're able to find and what condition they're going to be in. I don't find an excessive amount of shoes in good condition at my thrift stores here, but I do find them kind of regularly. So kind of stay away from boot cut and straight leg. I have a tendency to not buy as many boot cut and straight leg. It really depends on the brand. Like if you find Miss Me jeans that are boot cut, Western kind of jeans, I would pick those up. But anything else, I would, be very, very picky. I'm not saying roll them out altogether, but you want to get more towards the trending cuts, like skinny, dark wash, the vintage, like mom jean cut. That's the high waisted, and then the bell bottoms. But I have a tendency to not buy as many boot cut and straight leg. Like I find Hudson and Citizens of Humanity, and then they're usually boot cut, and I bought them before and they sit for a while, so I don't really spend too much time buying those. But with shoes, you definitely want to look for shoes in good condition, obviously, but anything leather. Leather is going to be your highest profit shoe, especially leather boots. I have a tendency to find, Danskos are really good because those shoes retail, $125 and up. Clarks are really good. They have a very loyal following. They have, like any of the QVC brands are going to be good to pick up because they have a super loyal following. But Clark's boots are going to do better. Boots and anything really are going to obviously bring you a higher profit than just regular shoes. Crocs, I do pick up if I find them, not like the traditional what you think of Crocs, but I found Crocs wedges, I found Crocs pumps, anything that's weird, like anything odd that you didn't really know that Crocs made, I have a tendency to pick up. One time at Burlington, I found these, they were like men's slip-on Crocs, and they were on clearance. And they looked kind of like slip-on, like canvas shoes, but they were the Crocs material. You might mention the twist test. Yes. So shoes like Danskos and Clarks, any sort of clog-shaped shoe that has the really thick sole on it, in the store you want to take it and you want to bend it. And you want to bend it a few times because these shoes are worn a lot by nurses and people who walk a lot, and they wear very quickly because they are worn every day and they are under a lot of stress. So you want to make sure that they're not crumbling in the sole, because they will literally crumble in your hands. So definitely check your shoes before you buy them. Look on the inside of shoes, like not just the clogs, but a lot of times if you look on the inside of shoes, they'll have a ton of wear on the inside. If they have a ton of wear on the inside, I usually leave them. I've found shoes that have like a ton of animal hair on the inside, and that's really hard to get out. So I usually leave those as well. You don't want to buy something that has a ton of wear on them. I usually leave the Tom shoes because they will wear out and stretch out really bad. But I usually pick up Danskos. I usually pick up boots, Steve Madden, Doc Martens, anything leather. If you can find just good quality leather shoes, people will buy them. In terms of dressy shoes, Jessica Simpson is really good to pick up. She has a pretty big following. People really love her shoes. She has built billion-dollar fashion empire, so people really love her brand. Anything unusual that you see? Any unusual shoes that are dressy? Career shoes, like the Clarks are something that I never would have known were worth money unless if I hadn't have seen the QVC show and saw how much they retail for. So definitely pick up the Clark shoes when you find them, because they will sell consistently as well. Make sure. Here we go. But yeah, shoes and jeans are a great way to build on the number of brands in your closet, because you want to have as many brands in your closet as possible. And shoes and jeans are a really great way to diversify what you're carrying, because you can pick up men's jeans, you can pick up women's jeans, men's shoes, women's shoes. Those are really things that will sell consistently on Poshmark. The men's market on Poshmark is still a little bit, not as popular as the women's, just because for such a long time, Poshmark was just a women's shopping app. We were only allowed to list women's items for a very long time. So I feel like the men's market is still very new. I feel like they're trying to do more with it, like introducing all of these new men's markets to have a way of marketing to men. And so because they want more men shopping, I feel like the algorithm is really going to favor men's items right now. So I think this is a really good time to be listing men's items. You clean them with a leather cleaner. Aren't shoes a lot of work? Shoes are definitely more work than most items. If something requires an excessive amount of work, I usually leave it. Just like if you take stuff to Plato's Closet or Style Encore and it's dirty, they will tell you, you need to take this home and wash it and bring it back to us. So I kind of adapted that policy into my own business in terms of if something is going to take me a lot of time, it's not worth buying when I can buy other things that aren't going to take me time to clean. But in terms of cleaning leather shoes, I just get the Kiwi leather polish. They sell it at Dollar Tree, they sell it at Walmart, and you can get like a microfiber cloth, and I just, polish the shoes. I don't put an excessive amount of time into cleaning shoes. I mean, unless you find something that you can sell, like Stuart Weitzman or, Badgley Mischka, really high-end designer shoes. If those need cleaning, that's when I would attempt to, put some time into something. But just your basic shoes that you're going to sell for, $30, $40, $50. Danskos, if they have like a ton of wear and, scuffs on them, I will usually leave them. Danskos also have a huge problem with the trim on them. I don't know what it is about the trim on these shoes, but it wears so quickly. I mean, the rest of the shoe will be in immaculate condition, and the trim will just be completely ripped off the shoe. So, situations like that, I usually leave them. But I just use leather cleaner and leather polish. You can get black, brown, neutral. They have a clear but they sell it in little tins at Dollar Tree, and then it's in the shoe section at Walmart. And I just kind of keep that on hand to just, shine them and make them look good for photos. But I don't put an excessive amount of time into cleaning shoes. I know a lot of people who do, and those are people who mainly sell shoes. Like that's, the majority of their business. So yeah, they'll put time into cleaning shoes that they usually find at the Goodwill outlet, because shoes at the Goodwill outlet are usually in terrible condition. I clean the soles of sneakers with Barkeeper's Friend, works excellent. I use shoe dye for black shoes, then Kiwi polish. Yeah, I've heard the Barkeeper's Friend is good. I've also used Dollar Tree sells these Mr. Clean erasers. They're like the generic brand of Mr. Clean erasers, but they work perfectly fine. So I'll use those on white shoes to kind of get the scuffs off of them. But yeah, I don't put a ton of work into shoes. A lot of the shoes that I get, because we don't have the best shoes at my thrift stores here, I'll go to places like Burlington and Ross and TJ Maxx and look for shoes there, and those are new, so they don't need cleaning. Let's see. How about canvas and running shoes? What kind would you suggest selling? So, canvas shoes, usually Vans. Steve Madden has a really popular of the canvas slip-on shoes. I try to stay away from Tom's canvas shoes just because the Tom shoes stretch out really bad and they wear really fast. So I don't really pick up too much of those unless I were to happen to find them new with tags and super cheap. Running shoes are hard because there are so many people selling running shoes now, and it's hard to find in good condition if they're used. But, I found, brand new Nikes and Adidas and stuff on the clearance rack at Kohl's before, super cheap. So I'll pick them up if they're new, and I can get them, $10 and under. What shoe dye do you use? I've tried Angelo's and it kept rubbing off onto my fingers after trying. I don't think I've ever tried dyeing a pair of shoes. So I'd be interested to know what brand is good. But mostly I just use like the colored leather polish. And that usually does the trick. I have colored in something with a Sharpie before. Let's see. But yeah, don't spend a ton of time, not just on shoes, but on really anything. If you find something that is going to require an excessive amount of work for you to put into it, I usually just leave it at the store, because 9 times out of 10, if I get something that requires a significant amount of work, then I'm going to throw it in my pile and it's never going to get done. So I have learned not to buy things that require a lot of work. Doc Martens Wonder Balsam. Yes, I've heard about that. Also, if you find UGG boots, UGG actually sells a cleaning kit on their website for UGG boots. So they have actual cleaner that you can get to clean the suede with that won't, ruin the boots. Okay, next we're going to talk about dresses. So the next part of the thrift store that I go to is the dresses. Thievings leather dye, I use it on purses and chaps too. That's good to know. Not sure if I'll ever attempt to dye anything, but that's good to know that there's that option. The next I go to the dresses section. So dresses are going to bring you in much more profit than tops, just because you want to try to appeal to the workwear audience, the people who work in offices. You want to really think about your audience and who you're trying to sell stuff to. And people who work in offices and have to do, business wear are constantly looking for things to wear to work. And they're constantly looking for, comfortable things to wear to work. So a dress is easy because it's your entire outfit. So, you don't have to go and buy a shirt and pants or a shirt and a skirt. So people much rather prefer to buy dresses than buying separate pieces. So I try to look for office appropriate dresses as well as party dresses. One of my favorite brands to find is this brand called Lulu's. They have a lot of really cute. They have nightwear dresses. They have casual dresses. They're really, really good to find. I usually find them new with tags, which I don't really understand why, but they will sell consistently, usually in that $25 to $35 range. And then I'll look for office style dresses, Calvin Klein, Banana Republic, White House Black Market, Ann Taylor, Loft. Loft is having a really, a lot of the fashion bloggers are promoting Loft items because Loft offers a really high commission in their affiliate marketing for fashion bloggers. So Loft is gaining more traction in terms of people wanting to buy Loft again, because I feel like for a while the resale value went downhill, but it's becoming more popular again. So I do like to look for Loft items because they are great quality clothes, and their dresses are really popular. Their jeans, blazers, things like that. Let's see. Wonder Balsam darkened my light taupe leather boots. Yeah, you definitely want to be careful when using stuff on lighter colored shoes. I had some Stuart Weitzman loafers that I can't remember what was wrong with them. They had like a spot or something on them, and I tried to get it off and I couldn't. I really messed them up trying to clean them. I should have just left it and sold them as it was. Let's see. My chat is super delayed and I'm not sure why, so I'm trying to switch between. I have dresses in my closet and they don't sell. So if something's not selling, I like to try and switch up the photos on them. Like if you have them on a mannequin, try photographing the item on a hanger, or vice versa. If you have it on a hanger, try putting it on a mannequin. A lot of times with dresses, you do need to show the fit of them, and they just look better on mannequins because it's a lot easier for people to tell how they fit if they're on a mannequin. Maria says she finds a lot of cute loft things. I do too. Loft has really great items that can double as casual wear and office wear. So, a lot of their dresses, you can pair them with a blazer and wear them to work, or a sweater and wear them to work, or you can pair them with a denim jacket and wear them out somewhere. And their sizes are great. Their stuff fits really well. They have a petite section, which I really like because I'm shorter, so I like shopping in their petite section. I'm sure a lot of other people feel that way as well. But they are definitely, gaining more popularity here recently. And I'm starting to pick up more of their things, like their jeans. And, I find a lot of their stuff new with tags. So I try to get it, especially when I find it new. And then I also find a lot of it at the Goodwill outlet. So you can absolutely pick up the loft stuff. Just be careful how much you pay for it. Like dresses, I would try to stick to like $5 or $6 and under. Jeans, $5 or $6 and under. If you find tops, I wouldn't go over $3. For tops in general, unless they're really high-end brands, I try to stay $4 and under. Next thing we're going to talk about are coats and jackets. So that's the next part of the thrift store that I go to, especially this time of year because nobody's really looking at them. The best time to buy them is in the middle of the summer. That's when my Goodwills start putting them out, and that's when I start going through them because nobody else is even looking at them. And I found Burberry. I found just a ton of really high-end, nice coats because nobody's shopping for coats in the middle of the summer. So that's usually when I try to start picking them up to sell for the winter. But items like blazers will sell year-round. Blazers, even really good like cardigan sweaters, because women buy these to wear in the offices where they're usually freezing to death. Let's see. Yeah, definitely start going through the jackets. This came up in my live show earlier, talking about the weight of jackets. Just make sure that you're aware when you're buying bulkier items like this. You need to really have a scale and make sure that they stay under 5 pounds, or make sure that you're factoring in the cost of upgrading the shipping label if your item goes above 5 pounds, because it gets really expensive if you have to upgrade a shipping label. So just kind of want to put that disclaimer in there and make sure everyone's aware that if you have to upgrade your shipping label, that comes out of your earnings. Does anybody have any questions about what we've covered so far? I love loft tops, but they are slow to sell. They are. That's why I'm super picky about what tops I pick up. And then if I do pick up tops, it's usually at the Goodwill outlet, because that's just not the exception I probably make to that is with Anthropologie stuff. I will go through the tops and I'll look for Anthropologie and I'll look for Lilly Pulitzer, and I'll look for plus size tops. So those are going to be my exceptions to the tops, but tops are just not an item that is going to get you the highest profits that you want to get. You purchase stock that appeals to you, or do you think of what sells best first? A little bit of both. So you have to not get caught up in basing everything off of brands, but you also cannot get caught up in buying things that you yourself would only buy. You want to be very open-minded. A lot of the stuff I buy is not necessarily stuff that I would wear myself, but I buy it based on what has sold for me in the past. So you want to buy things that you like because those are going to be more likely to sell for you because those are going to be the things that you know. But you also have to venture outside the box and start picking up things that may appeal to people elsewhere. Like, I work at home, so obviously I'm not going to wear, suits and office wear a lot of times. But you still want to pick those things up because other people need them, and that's really the audience that you want to be curating your closet to buy stuff from you. You want to think about your audience, and you want to think about who is willing to spend X amount, that $25 to $35 price range for you. And it's usually people who are working in office jobs. So you really have to keep an open mind and go through the entire store and look for not just brands that are going to sell. You can't base everything off of brands. You have to look for trending items. You have to look for unique items. So, I try to look for vintage stuff as well. So you really want to keep an open mind, and you don't want to be sourcing, just brands that you think will sell. You don't want to base everything off brands. You don't want to be sourcing only things that you wear because that's really going to limit your audience to, certain brands because you want to have as many brands in your closet as possible and as many different types of items in your closet as possible to cover the different markets. So I hope I said that well. But yeah, you definitely you want to start off sourcing for stuff that you know, and then gradually you will get more comfortable with buying stuff that you don't really know or wouldn't buy for yourself, but that you feel like would sell to other people. And it will feel weird at first, buying stuff that you wouldn't normally buy for yourself, but you'll get used to it. Let's see. Next, what brands of jackets are good to buy? So I like to look for, not necessarily based on brands, but denim jackets are good to find, a good quality denim jacket. The other day I found this LuLaRoe denim jacket with the tag still on it, and I looked up because I didn't even know LuLaRoe made denim jackets, but they were selling for $50 and up, so I definitely got that. Plus size jackets, you want to look for blazers, Calvin Klein, White House Black Market. J. Crew has really good blazers. J. Crew has really good coats as well that people love and people buy yearly. So definitely keep an eye out for J. Crew and J. Crew Factory. Old Navy has really good coats and jackets. I'm trying to think. Chico's has really good workwear style jackets, blazers. Tweed jackets are good to pick up. Just use your gut. Really use your gut. If you see something that looks nice and you think, oh, somebody could wear this to work. Oh, somebody could wear this to church. Oh, somebody could wear this, to a wedding. Use your gut and really start picking up those items that you feel like people would wear. I follow style gurus and fashionistas, so I know what trends might be attractive. Yeah, definitely follow fashion bloggers on Instagram and pay attention to what they're wearing, what they are linking for people to buy, like the loft items. People are really pushing the loft items. American Eagle has really nice coats as well. Pea coats, longer coats are good to pick up. Raincoats, athletic jackets like Under Armour, Lululemon, Adidas. I found a really nice Isaac Mizrahi jacket one time. Plus size jackets, Lane Bryant, Torrid, those brands. Really any just, really good jackets. Military style field jackets are really popular. Just go through the jackets. I've been picking up some Ralph Lauren jackets as well. For some reason, I've been finding a lot of those. Okay, next I want to talk about, and this is going to vary based on your thrift store, but you want to figure out what your thrift stores carry, like what's the cheapest things that they carry that you could get to sell. Like at mine, it's usually t-shirts and bras. So I go through the t-shirts and I look for band t-shirts, concert t-shirts. Sometimes I'll find Lululemon t-shirts in there, name brand athletic t-shirts. That's where you're going to find a lot of your like college NFL football apparel is in the t-shirt section. And that's one of the cheapest items that Goodwill sells because they're like $2. And then also the bras are $2. So you want to look for brands like Victoria's Secret, Pink, bigger sizes like Cacique. That's the Lane Bryant lingerie. Anything new with tags is good because they'll usually have the retail prices on there for you. But like I said, that's going to vary based on what your thrift stores sell the cheapest. And then you can usually find like your accessories, which is, I think, next on my list. Let me see if I can get to my notes. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about next is your accessories. Thrift stores will usually sell those cheap as well, like scarves, jewelry, ties for men are good to pick up. These are good items to have in your closet that people can bundle, that people don't necessarily have to worry about the size of them. Sorry guys, at least I made it like 2 hours before I started losing my voice. Do you guys have any questions about anything so far? Trying to keep myself from choking to death. Okay. But yeah, you definitely want to look for items that you can get for as cheap as possible that people don't have to worry about the sizes on, that they can bundle. Because that is how you upsell things in your closet. And then you also want to pay attention to like your sizes that you have in your closet. Because you don't want to have just, one size, or you want to have a variety of sizes. So people ask me all the time, like, do I not buy something because of the size? I never really leave something behind because of the size, unless it's like really small or looks like it's been shrunk in the dryer. I never leave things behind because of the size. What's a good price range for fashion jewelry? So jewelry is one of those things that's kind of hit or miss. I don't like to spend a lot of money on it. I don't know if they do this everywhere, but my Goodwill will sell like giant jars of jewelry They're usually kind of expensive. They're usually like $60 to $70, but I mean, it's a giant jar that usually has like 200 to 300 pieces of jewelry in there. So, ideally you want to spend less than $1 per piece. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I did the first live show at 7, and then now I've been doing this for an hour. So my voice is like struggling because it's really dry in here. Let's see. Hashtags. Is it good to place hashtags at the bottom of our listing? Okay, so hashtags on Poshmark are not really effective. Hashtags, because Poshmark doesn't have, like, if you go on Instagram and you search a hashtag, or you see a hashtag in the bottom of somebody's post, you can actually click on that hashtag in Instagram and it will take you to a page of posts that have that same hashtag. Poshmark doesn't have that implemented in their app. So the hashtags are not effective just because nobody's going on Poshmark and searching for, hashtag blazer. Like, they're going to go in Poshmark and they're going to search for Calvin Klein blazer. So putting hashtags at the bottom of your listing doesn't do anything. And then if you start like putting these tags in the bottoms of your listings, Poshmark software can actually flag your listing for keyword spamming, and they can remove your listing for that. So I don't recommend putting the tags in the bottom of your listing. As long as you're using good keywords, you don't even need the tags. Like, you don't need to, put a ton of tags in the bottom of your listing. I tried to no longer buy my own size because I kept the last two pair of boots for myself and a jacket and a top. So it's not that you want to stop buying your own size. You just can't try stuff on. Like, don't let yourself try stuff on, because I have ended up with many Lululemon things because I tried them on. You don't want to try stuff on. You can still buy it, just don't try it on. But also, like, I buy a ton of stuff to sell. So whenever I find stuff, especially if I find a pair of jeans or a dress that fits me, it's very rare that I find that. So when I do find it, I let myself keep it. Like, I don't, I'm not too hard on myself for wanting to keep things when I find things that fit me, because I'm 5 feet tall and it's very hard for me to find clothes that fit me. So when I do, I keep them, because I have plenty of other stuff to make up for it. So, let's see. But yeah, back to the jewelry. I don't spend more than $1 per piece on jewelry, especially if it's costume jewelry. Now, if you can find like jewelry with tags on it, like if you find Loft Jewelry or Express or White House Black Market or something like that, you could probably spend a little bit more. But just be very careful, because jewelry is hit or miss, because it's one of those things that people they usually want to bundle. It's very hard to sell jewelry by itself just because of the shipping price. If you want to put not hashtags, but you can definitely put, career, dressy, office wear. You can use those words as keywords and work them into your listing. So, you're not necessarily putting them as hashtags, but you can still put them in your listing. Size small moves very slow. Bigger sizes do tend to sell faster. But I have sold, J. Crew had to, I used to work for J. Crew. So J. Crew had to actually add on size extra, extra, extra small, because they opened several stores over in Asia where women tend to just be smaller sizes. So there is definitely a market for small sizes. It's just bigger sizes tend to sell faster because I feel like plus size clothing and bigger sizes are more difficult for people to find. So I think that's why they sell faster. Maria, what was your question that I answered? Trying to make sure my chat is keeping up. Okay. So next I want to talk about where to source for items. Obviously, the first place is going to be at thrift stores. Goodwill, Salvation Army, your local thrift stores, and the Goodwill outlet. So you want to learn how to find out when your local thrift stores are having sale days. So you want to ask them. You want to figure out when they're having their sale days because that's going to help you keep your cost of goods as low as possible. And you want to try to make an effort to go on those sale days. Or, for instance, my Goodwill's around here. You have a loyalty card and you accumulate points. And when you get to 250 points, you get 25% off the purchase. And then on Wednesday, they will do double points. And then on some like holiday weekends, they'll do double points as well. So you definitely want to pay attention to things like that. One of our local thrift stores will actually, they have a stamp card. And whenever you get so many stamps, I think you have to purchase like $25 or more and you get a stamp. When you get your card filled up, you get like a $10 gift card. So you want to figure out when your thrift stores are having sales. You want to sign up for their email lists because they will often email out coupons and sale days and things like that. And you need to know that because that is going to help you to keep your cost of goods down. And you need to make an active effort to go on these sale days and to take advantage of these discounts. Putting keywords in the listing rather than at the bottom. Yeah, definitely work the keywords into your listing. And we're going to talk about this more next week when we talk about like how to make your listings and add value to them. But you want to put your keywords in your description and you want to utilize as many keywords as possible without being excessive. Sue Mueller says, I'm a senior citizen. Yes. My Goodwills do have senior citizen days where they'll do, I think it's 10% off. And then also if you take stuff to donate to them, they'll give you a coupon for 10% off. So definitely try to figure out what sort of discounts your thrift stores offer and take advantage of them to get, your cost of goods as low as possible. Next places I want to talk about sourcing are your stores like Plato's and Style Encore and Clothes Mentor. So these are stores that are basically doing the same thing you're doing, except they have a brick and mortar location where people bring items in, and it's a little bit similar to a consignment store, but instead of doing items on consignment, they actually pay people on the spot for their stuff. It's usually not very much, but because they do this, they're very picky about what they buy. So you're more likely to find more recent styles here, more recent brands at these stores, trendier styles, things like that. 20% off at our Goodwill on Tuesdays. That's really good. Goodwill is very greedy about giving out discounts to people, I feel like. Although if I do drive up the road to Columbia and the upstate, they do half off sales, and then they will do on Saturdays it drops to $1. So all the items left over are $1, and then on Sundays all the items left over are 50 cents. So I try to make my way over there when I can. But the Goodwills here don't do sales at all. And they're all in the same state, so it definitely varies by region what they are willing to discount things for. But you want to follow all of your Play-Doh stores, your Style Encores, your Clothes Mentors on social media. They post their sales on social media, post them on Facebook, they post them on Instagram. And you want to sign up for their email list because usually the email lists find out about the sales first. And you really want to stay on top of your emails when you're signing up for these sales because these sales are an amazing way to get really cheap inventory because these stores will discount things up to 90% off. Like they regularly go through and discount their clearance 50% off, 70% off, 90% off. I follow the local Play-Doh's Closet and they just had a 70% off sale. Yeah, so they'll go 70% off. Most of them will go 90% off or have like a fill a bag sale after the 70%. So whatever's left over after the 70%, they will discount even further, which is crazy. Even more crazy is even at discounting at 90% off, they're probably either still making money or breaking even for what they paid for the item. But definitely follow them on social media and on their email list because that's how you find out about their sales. And then also you can kind of keep an eye on what they get in terms of new arrivals. Sometimes you can get good designer stuff at these stores. Maria, I have never been to a Buffalo Exchange, but I have heard great things about it. I think the closest one we have here is in Charlotte, but I hope to make my way up there one day because I follow them on Instagram. They always have really, really cool stuff. BOGO sales and fill bags to Uptown Cheapskate. What is Uptown Cheapskate? I've never heard of that. Is that like a Play-Doh store? There are all of these like discount stores in Greenville that I want to go check out. I went to Bin Time, which is like the Amazon bins over the weekend and found some pretty cool stuff. What do you think about ThredUp rescue boxes or Goodwill blue boxes? So I personally have never ordered the ThredUp box. I do hope to do that within the next week or so. But I've seen YouTube videos of other people who have ordered the ThredUp boxes, specifically the jeans boxes, tend to be the best bang for your buck. So if you're going to order a ThredUp box, I would definitely go with the jeans box. I'm going to have to look up this Uptown Cheapskate. Let's see. I've never heard of it, so let's see if they have South Carolina. Looks like they're in Mount Pleasant and North Charleston. I might have to go down there one day. It looks really cool. Yeah, I definitely need to go check this out. I didn't even know this existed. That's really neat. Yeah, I definitely want to go to Uptown Cheapskate and Buffalo Exchange. I feel like they would have some better stuff. They look like they would have better stuff than Play-Doh's. Play-Doh's is more geared toward like juniors and teenagers, like high school age. Style Encore is more geared toward like working women, like office wear, things like that. Clothes Mentor is like a good hybrid of the two. I've never tried the Goodwill blue boxes. I think I looked at them one time, and I think the best way to go with the blue boxes will probably be the plus size box. Goodwill Blue Box. Because when I looked at them, they were like sold out. Women's plus size. Let's see. Yeah, the plus size is sold out. What is a repurposed box? I don't know if I would do the repurposed box. It looks like they have some jewelry boxes. They're all sold out. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it looks like they're all sold out. I'm not really sure when they restock them. I guess that would be something to watch for. But definitely, if you want to order, I would probably go with the ThredUp denim box. I've seen some people do some unboxings of them, and they seem pretty happy. So, I think ThredUp is a great way. The ThredUp denim boxes are a great way if you can't go thrifting too often, because you can't really go wrong with jeans. So, I think you would at least be able to double your money on a denim box. I think it would be a super easy way to kind of fill your Poshmark closet. Let's see. Where were we? The next place I want to talk about sourcing is Facebook Marketplace. So you want to be really careful in sourcing stuff on Facebook Marketplace, just because there's always a risk involved if you're meeting people locally. But one time I happened to come across this girl who, it started off, she had a picture of like 2 bags of clothing that she was getting rid of. And, it was like a porch pickup kind of thing. And so I contacted her and told her I would come and get them. It wasn't too far away. And I get there, and she has actually gotten married, and she is moving and basically doesn't want anything in her house. So I loaded up my SUV with as much stuff as I could possibly fit in it. And I probably got at least $1,000 worth of inventory for free. So Facebook Marketplace is definitely somewhere that you want to monitor and kind of keep an eye on it. Join like your local yard sale groups and things like that to, take advantage of these opportunities when people just want rid of stuff, just want it gone, and you can go pick it up. It's a great way to get free inventory or cheap inventory for your store. Just be very careful, like when you're meeting people locally. It's not my favorite way to source, but when I find stuff for free or super cheap, I will go and pick it up from somebody. Next, I want to talk about yard sales. Yard sales are a great place to find super cheap inventory. And a lot of times you can, talk to people and kind of follow up with people later. And if you have business cards, you can give them to them and be like, if you don't sell everything, like call me and I'll come back. And, you can get stuff super cheap that way as well. But definitely check out the yard sales in your area. You can use the Craigslist treasure map to find them. I just went to Uptown Cheapskate's website. They have current trends under the Sell to Uptown section. Good to know for our own closet. Yeah, look on websites like this. It's really good to go to retail websites like Nordstrom, Anthropologie, and really look at the brands that they carry, because people love Nordstrom. They love the Nordstrom brands, and they're not necessarily like name brands that you usually hear about, but people will buy them because they know that they're from Nordstrom. There's one brand, I think it's called Blush, Lush, Lush, and they have really cute stuff, and that's a Nordstrom brand that people will buy, because a lot of the bloggers wear their stuff. And if you go to your local Plato's Closet or Style Encore, they usually have flyers that they give to people that have a list of brands on them that are good to keep on hand if you're learning brands. Let's see. Flea markets. So flea markets are really good to go to. You can oftentimes find people who, are selling clothing super cheap, because mostly flea markets are like antiques and stuff like that. So people who have clothing a lot of times are just trying to get rid of it, and they'll sell it for super cheap. And you can haggle with people at flea markets so you can get the prices down, which is not something that you can really do at thrift stores. Another place that you want to kind of look for sales are church sales. They tend to be happening more often this time of year in the fall. A lot of places are having fall festivals and things like that, and they'll often have a rummage sale or a yard sale to go with that. So you definitely want to keep an eye and follow your local churches on Facebook, and check out the Facebook event section. You can actually search like church rummage sale and see if any pop up that are near your area. All right, does anybody have any questions about places to go sourcing? All right, so next we are going to talk about cost of goods. So cost of goods is something you really want to be aware of when you're sourcing, because this is ultimately going to affect your pricing, because you don't want to pay too much for stuff. A lot of times I will see people paying way too much for stuff, especially if they are trying to do retail arbitrage. I mean, people are paying, did I mention estate sales? Estate sales are good. I don't find too many estate sales around where I am, so it's going to depend on like your area, but estate sales are a great way to find clothing. So there's, I think it's estatesales.net. Make sure that's right. Yeah, estatesales.net. So you can go to that website and you can type in your zip code, and it will pop up all the estate sales in your area. And a lot of times it'll have pictures of all the stuff that they have for sale, so you can kind of get an idea before you get there if they're going to have clothing or what they're going to have. Just be, look at the pictures really well and try to get a good idea of the kind of stuff that they're selling. Because some estate sales are just furniture or just home goods. And let's see. Clothing can be faded at outdoor flea markets because of the sun. I managed a market for 11 years. Yes, absolutely. Anybody who keeps their clothes outside. I went to a flea market in Florida, and we were kind of walking around like people who had these booths that were kind of like storage shed type booths, and they had some Harley leather stuff in the back and some shoes in the back, and they were just completely dried out and ruined, and you could tell they had just been in there for so long that they had completely ruined in the heat. So yeah, absolutely be careful when you're at flea markets. It's pricing items on next week's show. Next week's show, we are going to talk about how to create your listings in order to add value and make your prices higher on your listings. So we're going to go through how to create your listings, photography, flat lays, mannequins, how to write your titles, your descriptions, how you can add value to your items through your listings. And then the next week, we are going to go through all sorts of pricing strategies. We're going to talk about how high you should be pricing stuff. We're going to talk about like closet clear out. We're going to talk about offers to likers. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this in 3 parts, is because if you're not sourcing the right items and your listings aren't correct, your pricing's not going to matter. So we have to cover the right items that you need to be sourcing and how you need to be doing your listings before we actually talk about pricing strategies. Because if the first two aren't right, your pricing isn't going to matter. But we're incorporating pricing into all 3 weeks. But the third week will be like specific pricing strategies and how to actually go through and price your items and make sure that you're, leaving enough room for discounts and things like that. Let's see. Yeah, so let's talk about your cost of goods. So the mall brands and stuff like that, like American Eagle, Express, Hollister, Abercrombie, those are definitely things that you want to stay on the lower end for. So ideally, you want to pick up those types of brands at your Goodwill outlet. You want to pick up tops at your Goodwill outlet or yard sales or places where you can get things, for around $1 and under. Mall brand jeans, ideally, you want to pick up where you can get them $1.50 and under. When I start going to retail stores is when I start, getting really picky about what I buy and how much I spend at the retail stores. So the jeans that I buy at retail stores are going to be, your Miss Me jeans, your Silver jeans, True Religion, Citizens of Humanity, Pilcro, Page, higher end jeans that you're going to get $45 to $50 and above on. And on average, I will usually spend like $5 to $6 on a pair of jeans that I consider higher end. The exceptions that I make at the retail, like I said, like our American Eagle artist jeans, because I know that those will sell consistently. But you really want to pay attention to how much you are paying for things. And if you want to go and do things and get things from retail arbitrage, you want to be very careful how much you are spending on those as well. Even though they are new with tags, you want to make sure that they are, brands that people are going to buy. Like when I'm doing retail arbitrage, I'm usually going to places like Ross and TJ Maxx and Burlington. And brands that I'm looking for are going to be like Steve Madden, Sam Edelman, like I said, anything leather, things like that are on final clearance, like 90% off clearance. I'll go to Kohl's and I'll look for like plus size stuff on 90% off clearance. Even though you're doing retail arbitrage, you still want to look for it at the lowest price possible. So yes, this is the same outline as last night. It is a little bit different just because people are asking different questions on tonight's show. So if you want to go back and watch the replay from last night, it will also have different information in it just because people's questions last night were different. But you have to be very mindful of how much you are paying for stuff because that is going to affect your pricing. The least amount you can pay for stuff, the less attached you're going to be to your inventory. And then obviously that's going to allow you more room for profit. But you have to really pay attention to the types of items that you are buying along with the cost of those items. So that's why I've tried tonight to kind of go through like the categories that I prioritize at the thrift store, because those are items that, I can get for $5 or $6 and under that will sell for $30 and above. Let's see. Just trying to make sure like that I'm not getting the chat is catching up with the video. Okay. So I'm gonna open up for Q&A right now, like whatever questions you guys have you guys have, questions about Poshmark, questions about brands, about thrifting, about sourcing, whatever questions you guys have, put them in the chat for me. And then next week, this is going to be at the same time. So next week, we're going to talk about how to make your listings better and how to add value to your listings through your photos and your merchandising and your keywords and things like that. Because all of that factors into how much your items will sell for. Does anybody have any questions? But definitely start going. If sourcing is not something that you do regularly, try to start sourcing regularly and trying to pick up stuff to build your store, because you have to have the inventory to, get these prices that you want to be getting. So, you have to start teaching yourself how to look for jeans and how to look for shoes and buying these items that sometimes will cost a little bit more, but you're going to make more money on them. Because I used to have this mindset where I would go into a store and say, oh, I can buy this for $1. So if I can sell this for $10, then, I've made a profit. But I was spending so much time listing $10 items, and I wasn't even looking at any of the rest of the thrift store. I was only looking at the stuff that I could buy for $1. So once the thrift store stopped doing these dollar sales, it forced me to kind of go and look at the rest of the thrift store. And then it occurred to me that, in the time that I spend listing $10 items, I can find 2 things that I can list and make $50 a piece on, and I'm spending less time and making more money. So, that's how I've really taught myself how to prioritize the types of items that I buy. I have a hard time photographing floor-length dresses using the Square for Posh. What tools do you use to assist? So for floor-length dresses, a lot of times I'll put them on a hanger and hang them on a wall, and I will take the picture in full-length mode, and then you can download either a SquareFit app or a photo collage app, and I'll usually do a collage and put the front of the dress and the back of the dress side by side in a collage so that it fills the whole square and it's not just, a skinny dress going down the middle of the square. But definitely look for apps where you can photograph the dress in regular mode and then fit it into a square. But I agree, it's very difficult to put long dresses into photos and make them not look awkward. A lot of times I try to either put those on hangers or I'll put it on my mannequin if it's not super long. If it drags the floor, then I'll put it on a hanger. Thank you, Maria. I'm glad you are learning from the webinar. I really wanted this to be realistic for you guys. I wanted everything to seem achievable for you. I didn't want to overwhelm you with information, but I wanted to kind of help you start seeing a new perspective of how to source for stuff. Snapseed is great for photo editing. I also use Facetune. You have to pay for Facetune, but it has really good brightening capability, and it's how I get stuff to have a white background. I think I paid $3 for it. And then I also use the free version of Lightroom, because Lightroom lets you, if you up the exposure and slide it more towards a cool temperature, it will give you a white background. How do you store your items on hangers or bagged in boxes? So most of my items are stored in bins. If I have something like a nice dress or like nice men's shirts or coats or jackets, I do have a closet where I put those on hangers and put those in there, just because I don't want to put those in bags and make them all wrinkled. And then if somebody buys a coat or like a bulkier item for me, I will get the Dollar Tree sells these dollar garment bags that look really nice that I put coats in, and I ship the coats in the garment bags from Dollar Tree. But definitely like higher end items, coats, dresses, stuff that I don't want to get wrinkled, I definitely put on hangers. But everything else goes into bins. Some of it I put in bags, some of it I don't. It's a lot trying to like put everything in bags. And then if people start asking questions about something, then I have to go and pull it out of the bag and rebag it. And I've never really been a fan of like pre-bagging everything. Snapseed is only on iPhones. I'm not sure. I've only ever used iPhone. So I don't have an Android to test that on. Connie, thank you so much for being here and for watching my YouTube channel. Thank you to all of you for being here. I really wanted to do this just because I know that you all are capable of getting more for your items, and I know so many people feel like they have to accept these really low offers on stuff just to make sales, and I just really wanted people to realize that there are customers out there who are willing to pay reasonable prices for things, and you don't, have to spend your days grasping for these $10 sales, that you can actually make really good money if you are getting the right things for your closet. Thank you so much, everybody, for your comments. Great information. Thanks for all this information. I'm learning a lot. Thank you to everybody. Because I honestly, I didn't really know how this was going to go. I didn't really know how long it was going to go, but I really like being able to answer all of your questions live. And, you'll have this to come back and rewatch whenever you need to. So Sue says, loving all your courses. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm loving doing, these live shows for you guys. I really like doing the live videos better because you guys can interact and ask questions, and I can answer specifically what you need to know. Dollar Tree actually has a lot of stuff that I use for my business. I use their tape. I've always used their tape. I've never had any issues with it. Sometimes I get the eBay tape for free, and honestly, I prefer the Dollar Tree tape to the eBay tape. I only really use the eBay tape because I get it for free. Around like Christmas time and this time, they'll have like really cute decorative bags that you can get to put smaller things in. But if you have a Dollar Tree near you or an Ollie's Bargain Outlet, definitely go and check them out, because you can get like your tissue paper, your bread bags to put stuff in, office supplies. They have all kinds of stuff in there. Like regular Scotch tape, they have super cheap at both Dollar Tree and Ollie's. I love Ollie's Bargain Outlet. That's like one of my favorite places to go. And they have stuff there, like shelving units, and I've bought clothes there before to sell and all kinds of stuff. So Dollar Tree and Ollie's Bargain Outlet are great places to go. Any more questions from you guys? And if you missed last night's, definitely go back and watch it because, like I said, it will have different information in it just based on the questions that people asked that were different from the questions that you guys are asking. So you can definitely get more information out of the replay from last night as well. And then we'll be doing the same thing next week. So you guys can come to one night or both nights, and the group trainings will be before this if you're in the groups. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I'm done with my notes for the evening. I hope I've answered all of your questions. If you think of any more, definitely write them down and save them for next week. And I'm excited to talk about listings next week. And thank you all so much for being here tonight and for your questions and for chatting with me. And I will see you guys next week for part 2.